Cap it had to make my mama happy. I got Louis Gucci, now they look at me funny. They say, Soldier, where you get out of this money? Them niggas hate it cause I'm hot as the sun. Soldier strapped with the automatic gun.
Alright, what's going on YouTube? We're going to be talking a little bit about Dragon Ball Z Kakarot's The Warrior of Hope DLC that's coming out later on this summer. I have some expectations for this DLC. The trailer does give a lot of information, but I kind of have a little bit of a wish list, as it were, as to what I would like to see from the trailer. So talking about what the trailer revealed, we see that this is going to cover the history of Trunks. If you haven't seen that movie, it's a really good movie. It's probably one of my favorite Dragon Ball Z movies that they came out with. It essentially tells what happens if the timeline was supposed to go the way it should, if Trunks didn't go back in time and interfered, meaning that Goku dies from the heart virus, and that the two androids, 17 and 18, systematically start killing off the C-Fighters, and then that leaves Gohan and Trunks. Basically, Gohan trains Trunks as best as he can. Then we see that Trunks dies because of androids 17 and 18. Trunks then tries to train. He goes back in time, yada, yada, yada. And then we have him going back and destroying his version of 17 and 18. And so that's what this DLC is going to cover. I hope they expand upon this. Don't get me wrong, I do love the history of Trunks. It's one of my favorite movies. It's one of my favorite side stories that Dragon Ball Z has produced. But I think with the inclusion of Dragon Ball Super that's been introduced into Kakarot, I think they can push this a little bit further and give us a really good long-standing DLC. And what I mean by that is, don't stop when Trunks comes back and kills Cell in his timeline after killing 17 and 18 in his timeline. Go further than that. For those who watched Dragon Ball Super and saw Trunks return during the Goku Black arc, you know that he also fought Majin Buu, Deborah, and I forget the mage guy's name. I can't think of his name. Babidi. He essentially kills all three of those before, Majin Buu can become a huge threat, and he achieves Super Saiyan 2. Then on out, he's been training, and of course, we get the Goku Black arc and that history timeline. I would hope that they include that in this DLC, knowing the state of what Kakarot is and how they presented the last two DLCs. I know that's a long stretch. That's probably not going to happen. However, I think if you're going to do the history of Trunks and you're going to go this route, go full on. Don't just stop at the end of his arc at the Cell or Android saga. Go further than that. Dive into Dragon Ball Super. We've already seen Dragon Ball Super introduced with Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, and Super Saiyan God, and Beerus and Whis. So Dragon Ball Super is part of Kakarot. So this would just make sense to add more of that into Dragon Ball Kakarot. Now, that being said, this probably won't happen because I'd imagine because of the sales of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, they're probably going to do a sequel which will cover the Tournament of Power, the Goku Black arc, and all that stuff. I highly doubt they'll do DLCs for each one of those, which I get it to a certain extent, because if they do provide a sequel to Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, there really does need to be some improvements, especially to the combat and the storytelling and the cutscenes. I think they really need to do a revamp on all of that. Do more of a combo system like Xenoverse. I know some people say Xenoverse isn't that deep, but that combo system is a lot deeper than what Kakarot provides, and you need to set the standard of the level of cutscenes from the Naruto games. Despite whether you like Naruto a lot, the Ultimate Ninja series, or the Ultimate Ninja Storm series, has some of the best anime cutscenes for video games that we've had in quite some time. I saw the Demon Slayer footage. I haven't had a chance to talk about that, but I know it's going to be on par with that, and that's something that Dragon Ball Z can do. You have the characters, you have the fights, like you have the game plan to make those type of cutscenes. It needs to be introduced in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot if there is a sequel. If there's not a sequel, then set up DLC 3 to go into the Super territory, right? Dive a little bit more into that. Do the Goku Black arc, and then if you're gonna stop with that, end it with Goku Black, then start the Tournament of Power, and then I would say go into Dragon Ball Heroes, but that's another tale for another day. I think specifically for this DLC, the Warrior of Hope, DLC 3, you need to go all the way into Goku Black's arc. Either you finish Goku Black's arc or you just introduce it. Preferably you finish that arc, right? You do the DLC up until that point, because that provides hours of content for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and that's something that really isn't there right now. Yeah, the two DLCs give you a couple of bonus fights, but not that many. and that's something that's really of a letdown between the first two DLCs, especially the first DLC. The first DLC is not really worth it. Unfortunately, you have to have that DLC for DLC 2, I believe, and DLC 2 is a step above DLC 1, but it's still not good enough for Kakarot, if that makes sense. You can do so much more with your DLCs, and that's something that I hope they do with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, the Warrior of Hope, this DLC. I hope they go from the beginning of the history of Trunks, training with Gohan, all that stuff, and you go all the way up to him fighting Goku Black, right? Either you have him fight as an introduction, or you go all the way out with the entire like Goku Black arc with Zamasu, everything like that, right? Do that. I hope that's the plan. I don't know if it is. We don't have that much information. All we have is a trailer and maybe a little bit of written stuff about it that's going to cover the history of Trunks. I don't know. Here's hoping that we get a fully fleshed out DLC if this is the last DLC for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I don't know. Again, not one of my favorite Dragon Ball Z games. It's decent. It could be more. But I think this DLC can become some sort of redemption for Kakarot. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think they should just stop at the end of the history of Trunks movie part, where he goes back and he fights 17, 18, and Cell? Or do you think they should expand upon that into Dragon Ball Super and cover the Goku Black arc? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, bell notification icon, and the like button. Definitely does help out the YouTube channel, YouTube algorithm, blah, blah, blah. And I'll catch you guys next time. Take care.